1 Corinthians chapter 13, Paul he continues talking about the gifts from the last chapter, but he takes that thought and he adds something critical. It's the component of love. This is a short chapter, but it's a critical chapter, and I really want us to pay attention to the heart and the spirit that Paul would communicate to us, because I believe that as it's convicted me, it will convict you as well by the power of the Holy Spirit. Verse 1. If I speak in tongues, or if I speak in different languages of men or of angels, but do not have love, whether I'm talking or I'm praying in tongues, or some people will speak in tongues and have the gift of tongues, he said, but if I don't have love, I'm only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. He says it's meaningless. He says I'm just making a bunch of noise. He says, if I have the gift, but I don't have love with the gift, and I'm not operating out of love. It's like that saying we say, speaking the truth in love. We find that in the word. It's like the truth. All truth is just painful. All truth is just hurtful. Our words need to be seasoned with salt. We need to speak the truth in love. It said of Jesus, he was full of grace and truth. We need to be full of love. He says, if I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I'm nothing. He said, if I have the gift of prophecy and I have the gift of faith, but I'm not loving people along the way, he said the gift doesn't have value. It's not about the gift. It's about the heart behind the gift. Such an incredible principle he's sharing with us. If I give all I possess to the poor and I give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. He says if I give of an offering just to be noticed, if I do everything that seems holy, but I don't do it out of love, but I'm doing it with a wrong heart and a wrong attitude so that I can boast, he says that's just pride. He goes, you haven't gained anything. It's all about love. Verse 4, love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. It always perseveres. And here's what you need to know. We learned this, I believe it was in 1 John. It's that God is love, and God modeled love for us through Jesus Christ on the earth. We have the manual in the Bible, the model in Jesus Christ. And he says in verse 8 that love never fails. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. We don't know it all. But when completeness comes, when what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I taught like a child. When I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. But when I became a man, I put away my childishness, Paul says. For now we see only reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. We see through a glass dimly. We don't understand everything. We understand in part, not the whole. I say this all the time. There's things in the word sometimes that I might misunderstand. I might misinterpret. I know the word is true. My interpretation might, from time to time, I might misunderstand something God says, or God might not have revealed something to me yet. He says we see in part, but not the whole. He said, now I know in part, but then when I'm with Christ face to face, I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And he says something so powerful, and these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Faith is a powerful thing to be. Without faith, we learn in Hebrews 11, it's impossible to please God. For we must believe that he is, and he's a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. We need faith to please God. Hope, the expectation of coming good. Hebrews 6 tells us that we have this hope as an anchor for our soul, both firm and secure, talking about Jesus, how we're anchored to Christ, and that hope for coming good in the future, for a promise of something better. That's amazing. But I'm going to tell you, at the end of the day, we learn in Hebrews 11, 12, and 13, when it talks about faith, hope, and love, the most significant, the most important is love. Love God, love people. Love God, love people. They asked Jesus, what's the greatest commandment? And he narrowed it down to two. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, with all your mind. And love your neighbor as yourself. Love God, love people. Be blessed.